Are you ready? My name is Kate Loprest, and I am very proud to have been the voice of Lady Susan in Hello Out There Productions' first audiobook, Lady Susan by Jane Austen. To be honest, this experience was all the firsts for me. This is my first Austen. This is my first audiobook. This is my first time recording from home. India Paul and I met doing a production of The Sound of Music at the Oslo Repertory Theater in Sarasota, Florida this winter. And when things started shutting down, based on the coronavirus pandemic, she reached out to me pretty soon after and said, I had this idea. Are you interested? Oh, I want you to voice the lead. And I was honored that someone would think I have that kind of capability. And so the answer is yes. The suburbs of Chicago, sheltering in my childhood home, and I just love that I got to do this work from this space. So I did an initial read of the work, loved it, of course, and I asked India, our producer and director, if she would have a private chat with me, and the first thing I asked her is Lady Susan the antagonist or the protagonist? And I could see it going either way. I wanted to do justice to who this woman was in her place in this time period. And as such, she's a protagonist. She's fighting for her own life and her own livelihood and a love that she wants and thinks that she deserves. Some of the letters are very long. I worked through them. I found as I went, it was easier for me to go to break it up. So either paragraph to paragraph or smaller thought groups or sentences. So I would generally, in the recording, I would generally do a paragraph, and then I would go back and do the first couple sentences a few times, and then the next few, and every once in a while I would go through and do just one sentence because it was really tricky. And then at the end of every take, at the end of recording every letter, I would just go back to the top and I would try to do it once all the way through. I think what took the longest for me, other than the number of times that I read it and the work that I did, was figuring out the right place to record in my parents' house. Because I have never built an audio recording studio for myself before, and I couldn't do it in the basement because the basement made like lots of noises, and couldn't do it at my desk here at the house because the sound was bouncing off of the wood table. So eventually I was like, what's the most plush, cushy place I could find? And it was actually my bedroom upstairs. So with a plush carpet and pillows and beds and extra blankets and that kind of stuff. And that ended up being what worked the best for us sound-wise. But that took a couple tries. Some of the pitfalls of recording an audiobook in your parents' house in the suburbs. Lawn equipment. All right? I know. George thinks so. George thinks so too. The second thing that's very difficult about recording from your childhood bedroom is your parents. There was one particular take, and India may have heard this, and I had the door closed to my bedroom upstairs, which is like signal for do not come in here, but unless you go up there, no, anyway, but I usually say I'm working, but I'm finishing a take, and I'm like, yours truly, S. Vernon. And the entire time my dad's like, Kate, Kate, Kate. He just keeps yelling and yelling. So I just like, S. Vernon. Click. What? Like, just, there were baby bunnies in the yard. I had to see them. That's fair. So yeah, those were the two main obstacles for me, were lawnmowers and parents. India and I originally also talked about the difference in who she's speaking to in every letter, and approaching each character from a different vocal place. I also used a lot of breath. I was using a lot of breath support. A lot. As an actor, with some of these run-on sentences, she's very elaborative, and she goes. So I was using a lot of breath support, but also found, depending on her mood and what was going on in the story, to approach the storytelling with the breath. Was the breath short and up high? Was it low? Was she relaxed? Who was she talking to? What was the need at that? What were the stakes, and what was the need at that particular time? One of my favorite things about creating the voice of Lady Susan is her vocabulary and her love of witticism and words. She knows that makes her stand above the rest. Other than being an attractive woman, she knows that's what makes her stand out. It makes her charming. It gives her a leg up in society, this communicating that she can do on such a high level. So when I really felt a little bit lost and was working through the material, I would really dig into the vocabulary. I would dig into the consonants and the accents. And those things were very indicative of what she was feeling. Was she tight and at the front of her mouth, or was she long vowels? But I spent a lot of time using that, or returning to that, when I felt lost throughout the process, were the words, because I didn't have anybody else to act off of, because I was just me in my bedroom.